All right. Welcome to the live stream. I'm just going to check the feed. Pretty sure that I have a good feed. So we'll check that out, verify that. All right, it looks good. Okay. I want to thank everybody for liking and subscribing. I know I don't have a ton of subscribers, but I used to. I've been doing this on YouTube since 2018. Actually, the very beginning of 2018. And I had a lot of subscribers until YouTube demonetized me and basically made me get rid of a bunch of videos. But now there's more freedom. So I decided to come back and talk to people and see how they're doing. So I got the chat there. I got my glasses on, so I should be able to see the chat. So that'll be good. Trying to improve on video quality, audio, all that stuff. It's been slow, but I think we're there. So I'm going to start off with a little dialogue on Ethereum versus Solana. And then feel free to chime in. And then if there's anybody listening in, we can do a chat. And that'd be great. So let me just do one more quick thing here. Get it going. And I do have a podcast. And I haven't really put anything on there in forever. So I thought it might be a good idea to go ahead and do a podcast. So why is it not working? We'll just keep trying. Shouldn't need to edit. I'm done. Cancel. I don't know what the heck is going on with this thing. Wow. All right. Well, I guess I'm not going to do a podcast. It's not working. So Ethereum versus Solana. Let's highlight the pros and cons. First of all, Ethereum. Ethereum is a very mature ecosystem. It's been around since about 2015. It's established itself as a leading smart contract platform. Large developer community, extensive documentation, and numerous dApps, which are decentralized applications, if you're not familiar. The security, Ethereum is a proof of stake now, POS they call it, consensus mechanism. This replaced proof of work. Miners were really upset when that happened, had to retire their GPUs. And this created what they call Ethereum 2.0. They consider it an upgrade. It's considered very secure due to its decentralized validator network. And these individuals have to have a lot of Ethereum on the line to be able to be a validator. Okay. Security, Ethereum, again, we mentioned that. DeFi dominance, Ethereum is the backbone of decentralized finance, DeFi. This ecosystem is dominated by Ethereum. They host most DeFi projects, NFTs, and DOAs, which are decentralized autonomous organizations. So a lot of these other ones run on their own. They may be decentralized and whatnot. Interoperability is something where they can work with all sorts of other different coins and tokens and projects due to its dominance. Many other blockchains and layer 2 solutions are designed to be compatible with Ethereum, enhancing its ecosystem and connectivity. So whenever you have a coin that's trying to claim that they work across streams, or they do work across streams, they're usually looking, Ethereum is going to be their first one that they want to cross connect with in most cases, or at least their first large project. Extensive tooling and resources. The availability of developer tools like Truffle, MetaMask, and Ethereum Virtual Machine, EVM, makes it very easy or much easier for developers to build on Ethereum. Now, some of the negatives are what we might call cons. Scalability issues. Ethereum has historically struggled with scalability, leading up to high gas fees and slow transaction times during periods, especially of high demand. I've seen high transaction fees when there wasn't that much demand on the Ethereum network. Although the switch to POS has improved these issues, scalability remains a challenge until further upgrades such as sharding are fully implemented. Yeah, hopefully that helps. High transaction costs, gas fees on Ethereum can be prohibitively expensive during peak times, pricing out smaller users and making microtransactions less viable. And that's for sure. You know, if you're moving 100, I mean, it costs you just as much to move $20 worth of a coin on the Ethereum base as it does 100 in a lot of cases. I know that always changes, but that's pretty much the way it works. Complex development. Developing on Ethereum can be more complex due to the need for understanding Solidity, its program language, and handling gas optimizations. So Solidity is the actual programming language. Environmental concerns prior to POS, although they're no longer an issue with Ethereum on POS, it's a lot less electricity. Ethereum's previous proof of work mechanism was criticized for high energy consumption. Of course, you know, that could be argued as well, that it's really not all that bad. All right, now the pros of Solana. You've got a high throughput. Solana is designed for scalability, capable of processing thousands of transactions per second. TPS, they call it, transactions per second. Significantly higher than Ethereum's current capabilities. Low transaction fees. Solana's high throughput results in very low transaction fees, making it an ideal application for micro transitions or transactions, or able to handle a high amount of users at the same time. So that's a good thing. Speed. Solana boasts low latency transactions with confirmation time of just a few seconds, enhancing the user experience. Applications like decentralized exchanges, which are DEX, and gaming. Now, I've noticed this since this year, a lot of Solana projects came out, and you know, I jumped on the bandwagon, got Solana wallets, and started exchanging more Solana coins, not because I didn't like some of the ETH projects, but simply because the fees are so much more reasonable for a smaller transaction that I was like, hey, this is a no-brainer, man. You know, I'm definitely going to go with a Solana project that has potential with $100, where Ethereum, it's like, man, I better really believe in that thing. And then, you know, you need to put in a couple $100 or more because your transaction fees are going to be $10, $20, $30. So that makes a big difference, you know, when you're trading and swapping back and forth. It adds up a lot. Growing ecosystem of Solana, it's newer than Ethereum. Solana's ecosystem is growing rapidly, attracting projects in DeFi, NFTs, and Web3 due to its speed and cost and advantages. The scalability. Solana uses a unique consensus mechanism called proof of history, POH, combined with proof of stake, allowing it to scale without the same limitations as Ethereum. So it's a little different mechanism, but so far so good, right? Hopefully it stays that way. So the cons of Solana. Decentralization concerns. Solana's network is less decentralized compared to Ethereum's. The network relies on a smaller number of validators, which raises concerns about potential centralization and the susceptibility to attacks. So that's not good. Network stability. Solana has experienced several outages, which have raised concerns about the reliability and ability to handle large-scale usage without interruptions. So, yeah, that's a big concern. You don't want an outage when you're wheeling and dealing and making these transactions. You know, there's going to be a lot of activity on those networks, and we want to be able to move our coins in and out of that. Solana is less established. It's newer, less battle-tested compared to Ethereum, which means there could be more risks in terms of security and vulnerabilities and long-term sustainability. So, Ethereum's been around since 2015. No major hacks. Definitely not totally decentralized in neither of these projects. So if you're a Bitcoin maxi, like I tend to be overall for my long-term holdings, not that I don't like to play with some of the cryptocurrencies, the altcoins, but yeah, for stability and things like that, yeah, there's definitely a little concern there. Developer ecosystem. While growing, Solana's developer resources and community are not as extensive or mature as Ethereum's, which can be a barrier for new developers. I don't think that's a real huge concern. I think Solana's really attracted a lot of attention this last year, this last couple quarters. Complex consensus mechanism. Solana's POH/POS is a hybrid. It's innovative. It's complex, potentially making it harder to understand, audit, and maintain compared to more straightforward mechanisms. So to kind of summarize all of this, Ethereum excels in security, ecosystem maturity, developer resources, but struggles with high fees and scalability. And it is the go-to for DeFi and NFT projects still, the majority. There's a lot of money in Ethereum. Solana offers high-speed, low-cost scalability, but faces challenges with decentralization, network reliability, and it has been less tested over a shorter period of time. So choosing between Ethereum and Solana actually depends on you. It depends on specific needs. Ethereum for security and ecosystem depth, and Solana for speed and cost efficiency. Those are really the drawing factors. So I have a very small audience again. So there's nobody on the chat, unfortunately, but that's okay because we're building and I'm working harder on putting out more content for you and would like to have the interaction. I will be speaking here in North Idaho in Bonners Ferry in October on Bitcoin and have an open forum. I've done this for many, many years, gone to libraries and public groups and just explain Bitcoin basics. You can look at my videos, and I have some videos where I actually go through those presentations. They're kind of outdated. I have gone through and been updating them, so there's a lot more information. Of course, there's no way to be aware of every single coin that's out there. I mean, I was just looking up, there's over 2.5 million different cryptocurrencies. In 2019, you could only find, I think it was so did I misspeak? Right now, there's 2.5 million different cryptocurrencies that are out. Altcoins, crap coins, whatever you want to call them. In 2019, I was looking back at my records. There was only about over 2,000, maybe 2,500 altcoins and crap coins. That was it. So we have gone up such a measure of projects and coins, and there's airdrops, and there's staking, and there's liquid, and there's NFTs, and it's just such a vast field right now that there's an opportunity. If you specialize in airdrops and you can give good information that can lead people to successful airdrops, you'll get a big following. CryptoCito is very big on the Cosmos network. I like Cosmos project. It's across chains, fairly decentralized in some parts. I mean, not like a true Bitcoin maximalist would like, but pretty good. So I saw a couple of people drop in to the stream. Hello, thank you, welcome, appreciate your time. So yeah, I'm going to do that. We'll talk about Bitcoin, talk about security, what's the likelihood of it getting hacked. Maybe they'll have questions on the energy use of Bitcoin. That's a whole great conversation. Bitcoin is actually opening up a really, really neat way of helping underserved communities around the world to make it viable to bring power into these little villages and cities and different areas where it's competitive, where the price is good. And the reason Bitcoin's enabling it is because as a Bitcoin miner, you can bring in all these racks on trucks. And if the power generator will give you a great deal, you can turn your units on and off. So when they need the power during the daytime, or they have excess power in the daytime, but they want to serve this area with a contract with you and giving you so much power and you quantifying that you'll use so much power, it allows them to build these plants, more high-tech, more modern, more energy efficient plants that enables the folks to buy the power at a good price and you to buy the power at a good price and help make this generator viable. Because 90% of people turn off their lights at dusk and dark, but they still need little power trickling in for devices and things like that. So they can't just shut off the generators. So the generators are turning and potentially could be generating all this power that they're just throwing away because you can only run them so slow. They have to run at a certain speed to be able to gather these electrons. That's how a generator works. So Bitcoin has actually been a wonderful, wonderful thing. Same thing with dams, slowing down a dam and ramping up a dam and things like that. It's not that easy. It's a slow process. This is not like changing channel on TV. So allowing them to maintain the generators at a higher rate throughout the evening, a lot of times can be good for the Bitcoin miners, getting the power at a cheaper rate. And then when the power dam generators are suffering, they can have the Bitcoin miners shut off and they get these really good rates for their power. So it enables them to be able to make more money instead of wasting power. So this is a good thing. It's a great conversation. All right. I remember it was like yesterday when my father gave me money to pay electricity bill. I was going to pay it when I saw a raffle for a car. And with that money, I bought a number, went home, told him what I did, and he beat me, cursed me until the 6th generation of my entire family. After 3 days, I woke up. Wow, that's horrible. Sorry to hear that. My father opened the door and saw a new car parked in front of the house. Just seeing it made us cry a lot, especially me. It was a car from the electric company cutting off the power. Interesting story. Well, do you think electric cars are going to change the world? Do you think they're really going to be mostly electric cars by 2030 or 2025 in California, whatever their latest, greatest idea is? You think that's possible? I don't know. I mean, I think they can incentivize a lot of people to buy them if they live close to sources to charge them. But I mean, California shuts off the power more and more each summer. So it doesn't make much sense to me to get an electric car unless you live really close to work. So that was Henrique. And then we got Calva Beans. Calva Beans. They're going to have to sort out the batteries first. Yeah, the batteries are a big deal, right? They're going to mine up the whole world. Here in Idaho, they have public lands. They are controlled by the federal government. And they're in Idaho. The federal government, if you read the Constitution here in the United States, isn't allowed to own land, but they control it. Everybody thinks they own it. They act like they own it. But according to the Constitution, they cannot own land any more than they need for military and I think like 1 square mile. Compact, longer living batteries. Yes, that would be the ticket. That would be the ticket. Also, what about cheaper power? Have you ever heard of the, what's it called? Sapphire Project. The Sapphire Project, I think it's Sweden or Switzerland. They have this underground testing area where they have this, I don't know if it's platinum or what. It's kind of a metal. It looks like a Tesla coil. They run all this power through it, and then they do experiments. They put gases through it and things like that. And they're discovering all kinds of things and coming up with new patents. And apparently there's a college here in the United States that's found something similar. And they found that they can run power through this thing and actually end up with more power. That sounds physically impossible, but it's already been proven. And you can already check it out. Like I said, the Sapphire Project is one, and there's another project that's being done. And they're saying that if they could get this thing figured out, and there's no radiation from this, they're making like a miniature sun is what they're doing. So it's a form of fission. I guess you would call it cold fission because there's no radioactivity that is at a dangerous level or containment. There's no waste. When they turn it off, it is off. So there's none of the reactor rods and things like that you have in a normal nuclear power plant that if they're not cool, they can overheat. And then, the radiation leaks out and causes havoc, like Chernobyl or 3 Mile Island or Fukushima, I think it was in Japan. So it's much safer, but, we're probably 10 years out. Now, another thing they have is nuclear plants that run on Ethereum. Ethereum is not as bad as plutonium, and the radiation levels are a lot lower. It's easier to handle, safer to handle. It wouldn't cause a total catastrophic event if they had failures. They can make these units, package units, the size of, bring them in with trucks and have them going pretty quickly. So this is another thing that people are looking into. There's a huge project right now that the federal government is involved in where they're going to take, I want to say hundreds of millions of acres. They're creating these energy grids. They're planning on bringing in all kinds of solar. It's like 5 miles long, 5 miles wide, 140 miles long in one area, 200 miles wide long here. And it's just ginormous. And they're going through some of our best farming fields. And nobody knows what they're going to do with these solar panels when they wear out in 20 years or whatever. And basically, there's not going to be enough power to power everything they want to power. Because with all the new robotics and AI and this type of technology, electric cars, it's not going to get easier to make all this electricity. And like you were saying there, Calvin Beans, Calvbins, B-E-A-N, bean, yeah. The batteries are a real issue. So I was telling you, here in Idaho, they've taken all this land that has lithium, huge deposit, biggest in America, I believe, third in the nation or the world or something, whatever it is, it's a lot. And they sold it out to Australia, and they're bringing in all their own people. Idaho's not benefiting at all. Lithium mining is a very dirty type of mining. They're going to go in and get these veins of it, supposedly high-grade veins. So we'll see. I think the first company that was doing it kind of petered out, and then another one came in, and now they're teaming up, and they've got this plan. So we'll see. But got to stop using non-renewable resources. Yeah, I agree. I mean, hydrogen, is a great tool in Hawaii. Here's an example. I lived in Hawaii. Yeah. And we need to turn all our dams into hydropower. And yet they're closing the dams down. They want to close all the dams in Idaho. They want to close all the dams. They've already been closing dams in California forever. They have these micro turbines that they can put into even the smallest reservoirs and waterways. And they can do it in such a way that they don't damage the fish. They can put screens and diversions, or the pumps can be big enough and slow enough that they don't chew up the fish. There's all sorts of things they can do. So all the problems that they say there is, is overcomable. I mean, or it can be done, right? So yeah, they want to close the dams down. How stupid is that, right? The water's got to go through there. Up in an area of California, Southern California, there's a Silverwood Lake, and a company went in there, and I think it was federally funded. And what they do is during the daytime, they run water down this, and it runs generators to help when the power load is huge. And then at night, they use these high efficiency pumps, and they use these tunnel boring machines all down through the mountain for miles. They go all the way to Lake Paris, I think. It used to be called Lake Paris. They might call it Lake Hemet now. It goes all the way down to that lake, and they pump the water back up at night. That's because all the power at night, they can't slow the generators down. I don't know if you were on a few minutes ago, but they can't slow the generators down. They can't turn them off because there's still people that need power, but it's so much less at night. They could sell that power to the Bitcoin miners, and the Bitcoin miners could, drop off their load or even turn it off at night for the right price. And so the Bitcoin miners are a great benefit to these power generators where they don't have these options, or they wouldn't have had to put in. I mean, it was millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to bore those holes. Each one of those tunnel boring machines, I think back in those days when they did it 20 years ago or whatever it was, I think those darn things were several million a piece, and they used two of them, and they drilled from one side of the mountain to the other, and then they just went off and they left the machines in the ground. They didn't even take them out because they said it would cost too much to get them out. So that's how efficient it is. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, so we've been in this for about 27 minutes. Thank you for chatting with me. Apologize if I got your name wrong. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Years ago, I saw a concept where there were wind turbines along the middle of an interstate highway. Trucks, cars created enough wind to power at least the street lights. Yeah, there's pros and cons to that. Those things are filled with oil. When they leak, and they leak a lot. They break. There used to be a real issue with getting rid of all the fiberglass that's in there. I guess there's some people that are coming up with some ideas. They kill birds. There's a lot of great birds that the birds, internal, for some reason, they fly into these things thinking they can get through. I don't know why that is. I haven't done a deep study on it, but I know the wind turbines are a danger. I was going to tell you about Maui in Hawaii. You've got all kinds between Kaanapali, where the airport is, or Kahului, where the airport is, and Wailuku, which is the other side of the narrow part of Hawaii. If you've ever seen Hawaii, it looks like a head and then kind of a woman's bust, where the neck is. The airport's on one side and Wailuku's on the other side. So the mountain range, it goes across that, the wide part. There's a mountain range, and they have all kinds of windmills up there. And they're generating all this power, and it just goes to waste all night long. So they were going to run some cables over to Honolulu, but that's even more than they could use. So, I mean, this would be a great opportunity for Bitcoin miners to use that power at night, or that excess power. They wouldn't have to put in all that infrastructure. The other thing too is the volcanoes on the Big Island. We've got, I think it's, Venezuela? They're using volcano power. They're looking into using the heat from that to move generators. They're probably going to use ammonia or something, which doesn't take a lot of heat. You can actually get a lot of vapor from that and power wind turbines. All right, so we're right about a half hour. The turbines aren't the same as the fan-shaped turbines. They look like pillars with fins on them. Okay. Yeah, there's probably safer types of wind. I'm not totally against the wind. I'm just, being the devil's advocate, saying that there's pros and cons. Other thing I think would be great for wind turbines and also solar they say, oh, well, we can't transport the energy that far because, you know, DC doesn't travel very far, very good. AC travels far, real good. But one idea I had is you can use that to make hydrogen. And then hydrogen can be pumped through piping or transported in trucks. You'd be getting clean energy. That was just my thought, is that, you know, maybe we should utilize that type to put into hydrogen so that we can kind of bank it and store it and have a reserve, because solar and wind, it's only good if you can use it, and everything else is a waste. So that way you can maximize the potential of those wind turbines, maximize the potential of those solar panels, and get all the energy out of it you can, and you're able to transport it a long ways. Because when you transform DC to AC to get it to go a long way, you lose a lot. You lose a lot of efficiency that way. You lose, I think, 10% or so. So, all right. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. If you could like and subscribe, I'm going to try to put more content out there. I appreciate your time. Wish you the best with cryptocurrency. Be safe. I know the market looks terrible right now. All I can say, not financial advice, but when there's blood in the streets, that's usually the time that everybody's getting out. It's the time to already be in, or to get in if you're, you know, up to that challenge. Never put in more money than you can afford to lose. Thank you. Have a great evening. Keep up the streams. Okay, I will do that. I will try to get some streams out there. I can't do it all the time, but I will try to get them out every couple weeks or so. All right. I appreciate it. Over and out.